Hi, ever wonder what it's like to work another profession or live in the underworld? Listen to unsuspecting riders give a 10 to 15 minute personal masterclass as I spontaneously interview them as they enter my taxi. I'm your host, Simon Rushton, and this is Taxi Chronicles. Morning. Yes, we're back. Another episode, another rider. Today we have a lovely lady in the car. She is a banker or accountant. Sorry. But I just had a banker in the car and he was explaining stuff to me that was above my head, but he explained it in a very good thing. And now the lady's explaining the same thing, and I want you guys to hear this because we missed the banker. So nice to have you here today. You was going to explain about this gamer situation.
Yeah.
So what happened?
Okay, so basically I'm just explaining what happened in the market and basically how the market can be manipulated. So what it was, so let me give you an example. So obviously they're talking about what happened with GameStop. So people are trying to understand it in simple terms. So basically the simple terms is that these hedge funds, rich hedge funds, they basically thought that the shares of GameStop were going to drop, so they were going to fall in price over a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So what they did is they borrowed shares from investors for a fee. So they borrowed shares from investors, and effectively they can do what they want with these shares. So what they did is they sold, let me give you an example. They sold the shares for £10 on the market. And they thought that these shares would fall in price. So their intention was then to buy it back, say, for £7, and then they would make £3 profit.
Oh, yeah.
And basically, what they would do then is return that share back to the investor. So the investor would still get one share back. They would still get their share back, and these rich hedge funds would make the profit out of it. But obviously, the share price of GameStop didn't fall. So they thought it would, but they didn't, and that's because a lot of basic junior amateur Reddit investors, they all colluded together, and they were obviously aware of this kind of strategy, and they brought a whole load of shares from GameStop, and that in turn caused the share price to increase of GameStop. So basically, the share price was increasing, and these investors can't obviously sell, because now the share price is too high. So basically they ended up borrowing the share price ended up being about 700% more than what they had initially. So effectively it was these small investors that actually managed to kind of play the market. But now I don't know exactly what happened, but basically they've stopped allowing people to buy shares. So they stopped. So the actual I think it's you can't buy any shares now. Wow. So they're not allowing the price to go back up. They've stopped it. Usually it should be a free market, but now they put restrictions on it.
Illegal?
Apparently they're allowed to do it, which is unfair, because basically they're stopping the market from being a free trade market.
Okay, so someone needs to take them to court.
Yeah, effectively they're saying that they can get away with doing it. I saw the guy was talking about it today, and he was like, they're allowed to do it if it's against, I don't know, they've got some sort of restrictions where they're allowed to do it.
Orders,
yeah, they can if they want to. For the rich, it's basically
hang them all.
It's basically protecting the rich.
Hang them all.
They're doing everything to protect the rich, isn't it? Basically, these big hedge funds. That's where these lot get all their money from, so they're protecting them effectively.
Can you break it down? What is a hedge fund?
A hedge fund is a company that basically profits out the poor. effectively they just trade. So they hedge funds borrow money off investors, and then they trade on the market.
So rich people like Elon Musk will give money to a hedge fund.
Yep. So they'll use investor money, and they'll borrow it, and then the
customer was now.
Oh,
he was a hedge fund, because he was explaining. He says, let's say someone gave him $1 million.
Yeah.
He has to make the money. Now,
Yeah.
on a good year, he may make 15%
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
On a bad year, he may make 8%.
Yeah.
But if you use like a good software algorithm,
Yeah.
it'll guarantee you to make 10%.
Yeah.
So what some people are saying, well, I'd rather just stick with the 10% and be happy.
Yeah.
And that puts him out of the job. So it's based a lot on personality. People say, yeah, okay, we like you, we'll give you a chance.
It's basically, if the investors give them that money, then all he does is take a what, like a percentage kind of brokerage type fee or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So what made you want to get into the accountancy world?
Bar being Asian, to be honest, I think it is just
Was
a
it
fact.
your parents or you?
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, it's parents. It's parents. It was just kind of. It's always been that mindset. But saying that, I followed in their footsteps. But my sister's completely different. She's like an artist. Yeah. There's always. It's always. Literally, you can't. It's like she's a community artist.
Okay. And how did your parents feel about that then?
I think they know that, isn't it? There's always going to be.
At least we got one.
There's always
Yeah.
Out of the two, there's one. Yeah. I've got two brothers as well.
What do they do?
No. Actually, one. He actually went down the more of a religious route.
Okay.
Basically, so our background, we're Muslim.
Okay.
As a background, so he basically went more into like, practicing and like more down that route.
Himself.
Yeah, a little bit down that route. He was less like inclined by the finances.
Okay.
And my other brother, followed my dad's footsteps basically in like financial mortgage broking.
So, question then.
Yeah.
If you could do any job,
Yeah.
regardless of the money,
Yeah.
what job would it be?
I would say psychology.
You know what that means?
Yeah.
That means you're in the wrong job.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the polar opposite, isn't it?
Yeah.
The polar opposite. Thing is, people make an assumption with accountants that there is, because it is a mandate job, right? It's a routine type job. It's number crunching, but it's the same thing every day, right? You're not going to get any passion out of numbers. Like, you have to really.
Some people like numbers, I've interviewed some people.
Yeah.
So I've got you're my 306th interview.
Oh, wow.
And some people just really love number crunching. But mind you, I suppose they're not in the accountancy world. They do like some science stuff or whatever, where you need to have, I don't know, binary, something kind of.
Is it like actuarius type work, where basically they do they do number crunching, but they do it like, it's interesting because they basically look at your pensions, people's pensions, so they look at death rates and like all the things that go into kind of depth
he
and
does all
statistical stuff.
Yeah, that's what
so they're actuaries.
Yeah, I haven't published his episodes yet.
Yeah.
Because we publish once a day, so I've got about a month's worth in the bank scheduled to go out.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So it's on autopilot.
But do you reckon? But when you're saying that they love their numbers, do you think they do it for they're actually passionate about it, or it's just the money, the finance?
Guy, he loved.
Did he actually enjoy it?
He loved the research, the finance.
That's interesting.
It's a bit, you know what? And I have to throw my hands up in the air for this.
Yeah.
It's a bit like general knowledge.
Yeah.
So I love general knowledge.
Yeah.
So you could say, did you know there's 3,000 or 351 Santanders?
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Why did you tell me that for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I might pop that out sometime. Say it to someone. Get told
actually it was all.
What are you telling me that for? But and I suppose that comes in because once you've got all that data, all those facts, then you can start understand things.
Yeah.
Because then, like, for instance, dry foods.
Yeah.
They're only, or I'll give you a prime example. Chicken shops. Chicken shops are always in a radius of a council estate.
Yeah.
I've moved from East London now to West London. Yeah. And where I live in West London, well, I say West London, South West London, is Wandsworth. Yeah. But I live in, you could say, the Yaya area. Yeah. the military gave me the flight. It wasn't me. But anyway, and there's all the shops shut at a certain time. There's no chicken shops or anything like that.
Yeah.
But when I lived in East London,
Yeah.
there's like 5 chicken shops.
Yeah.
They're going to hit one. Along with the off license that are open up, you know, those things, all the Turkish kind of shops and Lebanese.
Yeah.
So it's a whole fast food environment.
Yeah.
Unhealthy living, you could say.
Yeah.
How you want to look at it.
Yeah.
And but over that, where I am now, you get none of that. It's kind of, it forces you to have to live a certain way.
Yeah.
And also the fact that if you step out your doorstep, someone's running.
Yeah.
You know that kind of people are always running. It's like, if you don't come outside in gym gear, something's wrong. Yeah.
So it is a wealthy. It's quite a wealthy area, isn't it? Yeah. Generally, or considered to be, right?
I'll say it's a middle. I was actually brought up. I come from children's home, but I was brought up in Putney. So I got adopted.
Yeah.
And that's all right.
How's that? So like.
Go on.
What was your background story then? So you moved. So you were adopted.
So when I was adopted,
I
was in children's home for 6 months.
Okay.
So I got adopted, fostered when I was 5.
Yeah.
Putney.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for people who don't know, I didn't know this. My mum, the people who adopted me were white.
Okay.
So my dad he's a professor.
Yeah.
Got OBE from the Queen. My mum was in politics on the Labour side.
These are your foster parents?
Yeah. They adopted me eventually.
Can I ask, do you mind me asking a question about that?
Go on.
The reason why I ask is, so how did you, okay, so at the moment, right, I'm reading, you probably know Akala, right?
Yeah.
I'm reading his biography, his autobiography.
Yeah.
This may come across as a personal question, but I'm just really interested to know, because he basically talks about, so his mum was,
Scottish.
Yeah.
And his white.
Yeah,
and his
exactly, it was black. And he talks about his relationship with his mum, because basically he was like, obviously it was clear he was always aware that she was white and he was black, and he was always very aware of that kind of, you know, he was like, she tried to understand obviously how it was for a black man to live in the UK and with all the racism, because he was born in the 80s, right, where obviously racism was really prevalent. And he was saying, as much as he knew his mum loved him, there was always going to be that difference in the sense that she would never understand kind of the struggles, because she didn't have, like, although there was love there, she wouldn't understand the struggles in terms of colour, because she was from the so-called white privilege. Did you ever kind of feel like that with your relationship?
First, let me jump in there.
Yeah.
First thing, what I see is that he's mixed race.
Yep.
I wouldn't throw him in a category of black.
But he considers himself.
I know. Yeah. And this is where my thing comes in.
Okay, yeah.
You're mixed race, and that's not to say it's demeaning.
Yeah.
That's just to say, I don't see how you can deny part of who you are.
Yeah.
Now, I've heard him say before, he's not denying part of who he is. He's actually saying, he's acknowledging his black side. Something along those lines.
Yeah, exactly.
My thing was this. Yeah, but it still comes across like you're denying one side of you. Because your mum's there, and your mum's done all the work in bringing you up.
True.
Do you understand?
Yeah,
so
true.
Why do you understand? It's the same thing with Obama.
Yeah.
And it's like, remember, Obama has a certain kind of temperament.
Yeah.
I guarantee you he got that from his wife.
Yeah.
Because we have temper flare up. You see what I mean? No, not to say you don't get black people who have control their temper, but we're depending on your culture, especially Jamaicans, you're always out there. Like he's Kenyan, so it's kind of different. Aggressive people.
Yeah.
But I look at it in that respect on that. But in answer to your question, there are obviously going to be different things where people don't understand the point of view. It's like growing up in Putney, there was just me and another boy called Simon Baxter, and we were the only black kids. There's a mixed race. What's he mixed race? Anthony Dixon, I think. Anthony, he's mixed race.
Yeah.
But in the school, out of like 1,000 kids, when we was in primary school, there's 3 of us as black children.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So, for instance, our first interaction with the police was when we was about 8 or 10 years old, cycling home. Obviously, those days you can cycle anywhere, do whatever.
Yeah.
It was just a normal.
Yeah.
And that's when I remember I think about it the other day. The policeman stopped me and said, "Do you know what you're doing wrong?"
Yeah.
Now we were cycling on the road.
Yeah.
We had mirrors on our bicycles.
Yeah.
Mirrors, you know.
Yeah.
My mum being the way she is.
Yeah.
Mirrors and reflectors and all that. And
Yeah.
to make sure road worthy. We hadn't done anything wrong.
Yeah.
But later on, it occurred to me that he didn't tell us what we had done wrong.
Yeah.
But he was just asking us all these questions. Who are you? Where are you coming from? Where you going? Where do you live? Blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
Yeah. It's such a young.
My friend was my brother. I said, no, he's just my good friend. He lives around the corner from me.
Yeah.
Blah, blah. And he's like, all right. And then from there, every interaction with the police just got more and more issues.
Yeah.
Until one time it got ridiculous, and but my mum and her friends couldn't believe that the police would behave a certain way.
Yeah. Okay. Because they've probably never experienced racially profile.
They didn't understand. Well, they've never had to.
They've never had to see it. Yeah.
It's nothing about just racially profile. To me, it's like you've never had to put up with harassment.
Full stop.
So
yeah,
you won't understand.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
And do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, if I was obviously my birth father, he could say, "Yes, son, this is blah blah blah."
Yeah. Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
What have you?
Yeah.
The same way when I get young people in a taxi,
yeah,
and they tell, like, I picked up a guy from a police station,
yeah,
a young guy,
yeah,
and he's telling me how he got into the police, and I said, over what? And he's telling me his story, and I said, wait a minute. You know, there's 6 of them, and 1 of you, and even if you was a ninja, there has an army of them across the country.
Oh no.
So why don't you just work with them?
Yeah.
Even if they're being a pain in the ass, work with them.
Yeah.
And I said, and I had to break it down. So I said, explain. I said, it's a game. You see it like a game. This is what I learned from experience. If you can play their game better than them, they get upset because they want you to get upset.
They want you to get aggravated by it, basically. Yeah.
Way.
Yeah.
But I've been stopped before.
Yeah.
And it's like 2 hours. The policeman just had me standing there in the morning.
Crazy.
About 3 in the morning.
Crazy.
And they eventually let me go. They didn't say we come down the station or anything because I answered all their questions, blah blah blah. And there's a moment where it's like I wasn't saying anything, they weren't saying anything.
Yeah.
And I said, like 15 minutes went, and I went, well, can I go now?
Yeah.
They said, don't get stroppy. I said, no, it's not a problem. Just think. And they said, you're a good one. You know how to handle it. Because what they were really just saying to me is that you know what we're doing.
Yeah.
And you know how to
You're
play
basically you know what's going on. Yeah.
You know how to play the game.
Yeah.
And they said that you know how to give us, because those days you didn't have no ID with you.
Yeah.
And I had a TV in the back of the car. And I was driving a bit fast.
Yeah.
Full Fiesta. The box TVs.
Yeah.
I was coming thing. But I could answer all their questions and blah, 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 and they just didn't know where to go.
Crazy.
And they weren't young. Police with their experience.
Yeah. Do you know, you wouldn't believe that. So me as well, because I've been profiled because I went to Miami, right? And the airport, so you know the people in the airport, Miami's known, right? Because obviously it's got a lot of like people like drugs, people from Mexico or whatever, and the drug movement from there. So obviously it's renowned, that airport's known for stopping people. But even I'm basically like 5 foot nothing, and I was questioned for 4 hours only because my passport had Pakistan in it, that I had visited Pakistan. Yeah. So straight away they see my name and they think someone like me who's literally nothing, alone, this little girl, basically questioned by like these 2 officers for 4 hours. It was mad, just simply because I'd visited Pakistan before, about when I was 15.
Okay.
And that was
Pakistani.
Yeah.
But to me it's like this. Remember, 75% of Americans don't hold passports. President Bush didn't have a passport until he got in office. So they only know what they see on the news. And once you understand, and I was watching this documentary, this little clip on YouTube, one time. It's old Jewish, one of the Hasidic Jewish guys, and he is saying when his father never got upset with people, and he said, And he said the reason why his father didn't get upset with people, because he said his father used to say, what that man did was so silly. If he knew what I knew, he would never have done it.
That's
And
interesting.
so what that taught me is that
Yeah.
if you understand why somebody behaves something,
Yeah.
then you can have empathy
Yeah.
for their ignorance.
Yeah.
Empathy thing. And then it's hard to get upset with somebody that you have empathy.
True.
Do you see what I mean?
True.
So I just look at them and say, because I know the police, American police, or the custody people in the police, they're very rude.
Yeah.
It's like they don't want you to come to their country.
Yeah.
New York lives on tourism.
Yeah.
They don't let you know that, but when you go there, you see it. I never hear somebody British voicing outside London. When I was in New York, Manhattan Square, British voices everywhere, shopping.
Yeah, of course. Miami's built on that, though, isn't it? It was pretty much built on tourism. But yeah, they got that aggression there.
But you just learn to play the game.
True.
If you learn to play the game, then there's no issues. But if you're going to take things a certain way, personal, and you've got to look at it, it's like, choose your battles. That's what I tell the young guy when I picked him up.
Yeah.
You got to choose your battles.
Yeah.
And because partner, relationship.
Yeah.
You have to choose his
You definitely
battles.
got to choose your battles.
You have to choose his battles, man. I always say the woman is going to win 90%, the man's going to win 10%. But that 10% means a lot, in that respect. But it's been interesting talking to you.
Lovely talking to you
The
as
last
well.
question I'm going to ask you, and obviously we deviated greatly.
Yeah.
What's the impact you want to have on the world?
Impact.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't think I can. I hope I can make any change I can make. I hope I can make a little bit of change with any of the finance I've got. So I don't want to be a millionaire. I don't want to be like the highest paid accountant or the highest paid banker. But what I do want to do is what I do earn, I want to do it to help people in any capacity I can. So be it the little gestures of helping your neighbours, helping people around me, helping my family, most importantly, looking after my parents in the way they looked after me. So one thing I've given you is I live alone with my mum. And so this is a big issue, right? Because, let me give you an example. In my culture, it's very traditional that a woman, when she gets married, she goes and lives with a man.
Yeah, you don't want to leave your mum.
I don't intend to do that. Because basically my mum's raised me all my life. She's a single mum of 4. She's been through a lot.
She's going to need you.
My intention is to always look after her. And I think I'm hoping that any guy, when I get married or whatever, they'll accept that. Because that's my duty, that's my responsibility. So it's my changes, I don't think are going to be drastic, but they're going to be looking after the people around me, and anything I can in capacity with my finances is to make a difference and help people that need it. So yeah,
well,
that's what I hope.
As long as you're not
to do.
marrying a man, if you're marrying a Western man, he'll probably work with you. If you marry a man straight from, it's going to be harder.
I think even Western men, it's difficult though, because a lot of them think that they're taking on a responsibility of your parents as well. They've still got that mentality. So I think it's marrying a good man that understands it. Because regardless of where you're from, they're still going to think they've got that expectation that they're going to look after, your parents.
It's funny you say that.
Yeah.
Because obviously my parents are Jamaican, my heritage, and we're known for coming together as peace families. I have kids already outside of relationships. You might find it, and you automatically know that, well, we're going to do this together, then your kids are going to come and thing, and if our parents are sick or whatever, then everybody's just meant to do what they're meant to do. It's just a given.
But I think it's not necessarily I think it's just being a good person, because a lot of people, they can be like Western, born and brought up here, whatever, but still have that mentality where it's like, basically, I don't have to take that responsibility. So yeah, it'll be an interesting one. So let's see what happens.
I wish you
Thank
well.
you so much.
And,
Thank you so much. You too. It's lovely talking to you.
Okay then. We hope you liked that interview. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to get the latest daily episode. Ever considered investing in the continent with the fastest growing economy and population on Earth? The same continent that holds 30% of the world's known natural resources? Then listen to our sister podcast, Africa Investor Stories, where you will hear real investors with real stories from around the world share their experience of investing in Africa. We post Monday and Thursday at 10 a.m.